welcome back to iFU.Podcast. I'm your host, Trent, and these are my co-hosts,
Austin.
And Sarah.
And we're live. Oh.
Don't worry, we're both just intently staring at you.
It's fine. It's totally fine. So today we're going to be talking about positivity in our words. Words have a lot of power, and depending on how we use those words, it's really going to affect our relationships and also really help or possibly harm the people nearest to us. So a couple of quotes I came up or found, looked up for this. One that really stuck out to me is at the very end of Harry Potter, Dumbledore's talking to Harry when they're at King's Cross. And Dumbledore says, "Words, in my not-so-humble opinion, are our most inexhaustible source of magic, having both the power to inflict injury and remedy it." Another quote I had was from Ephesians 4:29. It says, "Don't let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building up others according to their needs, that those who hear it may benefit from listening." So back to Dumbledore's quote, our words really have a lot of meaning, especially when you're talking to someone who deeply cares about what words you're using to address them with. So if you say something horrible to someone that you love, that word's going to be even more impactful. If you say something really good to someone that you love, that word's going to be even more impactful. We can, like Dumbledore says, cause injury or remedy it. And in the case of Ephesians here, it's saying don't let unwholesome talk come out of your mouths. And that's something that I have been extremely guilty of for a long time, is I just talk nonsense all the time. And a lot of times it's not very beneficial for people, which it follows up with, when you're talking, use it to build people up. And I think that's very important, something I need to continue to work on myself, is to keep building people up.
What kind of examples do you see in a person when you say something that is positive versus something that's negative? Like, what seems to change in that person?
Really, everything changes, I think. Like, when you're positive to someone else, you're going to see them be positive to you. If you're negative to someone else, they're going to be negative right back. And if someone is negative and you give them positivity, that'll probably help them become positive too.
Do you think positivity and negativity, when it comes to your words, do you think they have the same, reach? Let's say, "Good job, Sarah. You did an excellent job today." Are you going to feel that effect more and be able to spread it? Or do you think it's easier to infect people with negativity?
That's a tough one. I want to say negatively, but that comes from just the knowledge of how much negativity is out there and how easy it is for people to not even realize it, but be in a negative tone, which I don't know a better way to say that, but I think a lot of times people don't realize that the way they are communicating with someone can come off as a negative. Like, sometimes people talk about things that people are sensitive about and they don't realize they're sensitive about it, and it's just a simple conversation. But when it comes to impact, because of that, I think positivity is much more of an impact on people and noticed more today and needed more today than negativity, hands down.
I know, because you were talking about, how you say it to people. And I've been talking to a couple guys about this, because they're like, I have what I need to say and, what could help. But when I say it, it comes off the wrong way. And the whole idea is, you can't be so harsh or crass with your words or the way you're saying it. You have to be more personable, more relatable, and you have to jump out of the intelligent aspect of it and come down and be like, try to view like, okay, what's their shoes like, and kind of feel where they're at.
Yeah. And that kind of leads me into, I actually, 2 days ago, sorry, I'm sick. My nose sounds funny. My throat's it's a thing. Anyway, so I saw a video where this guy and this woman were talking, and the basic concept of this video is saying that men, when a woman is communicating with them, tend to be logical. Like, they think straightforward. Like, they think if she's talking about this being a problem, well, then the only point of this conversation is to either I'm not doing that or there's a solution. Like, I'm thinking problem solving. Where women, and this is just this lady's point of view, so anyone listening, don't get offended if you feel as though you do not operate this way, but women tend to say what they feel and not necessarily what they mean. Meaning they say what they feel and sometimes stray away from logic. But I will say, as a woman myself, if you go way back to the beginning of human evolution, women were the communicators, and that was anything from transporting, gathering emotions, what's going on between people, you know what I mean? And men were the physical, logical problem solvers, hunters. That's just how it was. That's how it was. Granted, I know that's way back in the day. But something as simple as that can be deep-rooted into culture today and you don't even realize it. And as a woman who dates women, more oftentimes than not, that is exactly how it is. I tend to be logically thinking if it is not a relationship, meaning my personal romantic relationship. But when a lot of emotions are involved, I am 100% guilty of being the one that talks about how I feel and not necessarily what I actually mean. And that comes down to just simply talking about my feelings are hurt. This is what's going on. And you're, telling your person this. And then you get somebody that's like, okay, well, if, that's how you feel, then let's stop doing that. And then they'll be like, that's not what I mean. That's not what I'm talking. Me and my girlfriend run into that every emotional conversation. So I don't know, especially Austin, being married. I don't know if you've thought about that or if that's something you're aware of or maybe you know a little bit about. Maybe there's a little bit of confusion in conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Does that make sense to you? Like, does that ring and hit?
There are times when, like, she'll be like, just telling me about her day and what's going on and, like, how she's so stressed out and everything. And my natural instinct, like you said, is like, well, how can I help? Like, how can I fix? If we do this, if, you take a break, blah, blah, blah. And I'm offering all that advice, but really it's more along the lines of sort through whatever she's going through and then kind of deal with it that way. And then she might come up with a solution for me to actually help and step in.
Yeah, a lot of times it's an let me unload first and then my emotional state will come down. That's just how I feel. Like, me personally, I will say how I feel, and I'll be talking about certain instances. So then we run into a situation where it's like, even myself will be like, oh, well, okay, if you need that, then I'll go do this, or I'll do that, or I'll need this, or I'm communicating something. And then I'll be like, I don't even understand how we got into an argument about this. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, what it comes down to is one or the other. All they needed when they're telling you how they feel and like what you did and why they feel that way and yada yada is a lot of times, especially with women, is just reassurance. Her mind is warped and she's told you everything that's upset her. When it comes down to it, sometimes all they need to hear is, okay, I hear you, and logically that makes sense. Let me reassure you that that is not what's going on, and I love you, and that is not going to happen. Because I'm your partner, I love you, and it's okay, and I hear you. I'm still here. Like, it's okay. That's probably what I've come to know. Even sitting here today, I still struggle with it. But that's probably 50% of our conversations.
Yeah.
And it's a hit and miss every time. People are different. People communicate different. People like different tones. Some people think there's always a difference in what's respectful and what's not. People are at different levels in emotional and communication-wise maturity. So everything is going to be very specific to the person you are talking to. But a lot of times, especially in today where people are getting instant gratification from their cell phone and their social media, a lot of times, a lot of feelings can be solved just with reassurance, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that, Trent? Do you feel like the women and girls in your life
You got
tend to
3
communicate
girls.
like that?
I would tend to agree with that. Just in general, most men just how our minds work. And I think females are the same way about, they're just speaking their emotions. Men are not good at speaking with their emotions. Men's responses is usually to either be quiet or get angry. Most men don't handle their emotions very well like that and voice them. We look at a situation through a more analytical lens and try to rationalize things out like that.
Yeah, maybe sometimes, a lot of the times, going back to a physical response, if that makes any sense. Like needing to do something or not do something, where women tend to be more intellectual, emotional.
And so when you have that conversation with a male or female, depending on, your scenario, like if she's getting real emotional, guys, choose your words wisely. Don't just be like, all right, well, let me fix it like this. But instead be like, okay, I'm here for you. Yep. Just kind of reassure, make sure she's there, like Sarah said. And then, ladies, for us guys, really what we want, I would say, is, and I don't mean to use the word, like, respect as, like, a demeanor, but, like, in a sense of understanding, like, if I can do this, then let me do this and fix it, because it'll make me feel better. It'll make my, drive as a man to, be bolstered, and then that'll set me in a better mood. And if that works, then obviously, hopefully, the household or whoever you're talking to is also affected positively. So
I think when we make ourselves into a more positive mindset and we are aware of what words you're choosing to use, you're going to drastically improve your mood and the people around you, just because you're intentionally trying to sprinkle in more positive words into your just daily communication.
Yeah.
Like one of the people we work with every day is, he comes in and says, "It's another great day." Just having that positive mindset, it makes a huge difference.
It's infectious. It's very contagious too, because when he says that, it doesn't matter who he's speaking it to. That individual, even if they aren't having a good day, they somehow manage to put a smile on their face after he says that. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's another great day. And even if they're like, oh yeah, it's another great day, but still, like, your spirits just got raised a little bit,
Yeah, and even speaking personally on that, it gets to and still is to the point where if I see him, or like when I return back to the area, if I'll hit a certain point in the day and if he's not there and I haven't heard it, I know it. I'll be like, you know what? He isn't here today. Why? Because I haven't heard that it's a great day today. So it's become something you notice. Where, negativity, especially people who are negative all the time, mentally, you're like not looking forward to that. The days they're not there, it's like easier days. And sometimes to the point where it's like you don't even recognize that they're not there because it's just something you're completely trying to avoid.
Right.
But the positive note, even something like as little as, "It's another great day today, guys." I notice that. I know I haven't been told that. I haven't heard him say that. it made a big deal, and it's not even something that I don't think he intentionally did, but the whole area responds to it.
And so much so, even when he's not there, the rest of us are like, "It's another great day."
Yeah,
You know,
we're all saying it like, "Hey, it's another great day."
And I think we all know instinctively, like, things could always be worse for you. And when you stop and really think about it, like, things aren't that bad. Like, the sun's still shining. I'm still waking up in the morning, still have a job, whatever, There's always something positive in your life that most of the time we just take for granted. If you just tell yourself, hey, it's another great day, you're kind of forcing yourself to look at some of the more positive aspects going on.
And when you use negative words, even if you don't mean to, and you're just saying it as a joke, you don't know what kind of day that person has had or what they're going through. And you could say something so small. Like, for instance, if something is seriously going wrong with somebody's mom, and then you say your mom joke after that, I bet that person's going to feel pretty cut and hurt, Yep. And it's not to say you can't joke around, but you really have to be careful of how you do it. And because people are sensitive. We're all emotional type beings. We all feel, we're not disconnected from everything. You can't take people for granted. Just because you're having a crappy day doesn't mean that you have to make somebody else feel like they're having a crappy day either.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many people, I won't say so many, but there are people out there that are miserable, either don't want to or have no capabilities of helping themselves into a better place. Mm-hmm. And when they say misery loves company, that is the truth. Yeah. If they are not happy, they are upset when other people are doing better, or some people even as little as just this person's in a better mood to them. It makes them more miserable, and they actively try to make that person or the people, anyone around them, as miserable as they are.
Right. Kind of back what you were saying is like, if I see like who I'm going to be next to or work next to or whatever, and I know that individual I'm going to be okay with, I know that my day's going to be better. But then if I see that it's somebody that I don't get along with, or they are just, rude or just negative in any way.
A constant complainer.
Yeah. And it's going to affect you, and it's going to ruin your day. In those moments, I'm almost going to put this as a challenge, right? If that individual is having such a bad day, try and say something positive to them. They might reciprocate badly, but at least you know that you put the effort in, and that just because their world's getting sucked down by whatever it is doesn't mean that you have to get sucked down into it. And that'll help build confidence in yourself and create just closer to the person that you want to be when creating a positive lifestyle.
And I feel like going on a growth journey, especially on a positivity journey, the more you practice it and you start noticing little things like that, like, oh, this person complains a lot, or, this person seems to have a bad day every day. And then you talk to those people, and you even like maybe talk to them about what you're doing, or not that I like to, but I catch myself being like, well, on the bright side, this, or, that or the other. And it's not someone that's like, yeah, you're right. But they're like, oh, no. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay. So you're in a space, or you're just choosing to be in the mental space that you are now. Or you're just so deep, unfortunately in such a negative space with your, with whatever's going on with you, that maybe you just need more of it. But if you're not responding well to it, I'm obviously not going to push that on you. And it kind of helps you choose, which loops all the way back to the episode 1, is those positive people. And then once you keep practicing and you feel as though maybe you can help someone you're close to, and if they respond to it, great. If they don't and they keep going down, unfortunately, You might have to detach a little bit or cut that relationship off if that person chooses to be that negative person.
And I was just thinking, and this is going to step on some toes, what I'm about to say.
I'm ready.
All right. And I have a hard time doing it too. But it comes down to gossiping.
Yeah, I can agree.
Your words are so important, even if that person isn't hearing them.
Yeah, yeah.
If you are in a group of friends who are talking about a certain individual, and all you're saying is negative things about them, that's all you're going to produce. Just those negative things. And not only that, but you're infecting each other. You're putting on this persona on that individual. And let's say they were going to have a good day and, they felt confident in themselves and they achieved something. Well, because you already have this picture in their head of that negativity, you're not going to celebrate that with them. You're just going to be like, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Be sarcastic, be crude, In any sense, gossiping is not good.
Yeah.
In reality. And I saw there was this young guy the other day. I was very impressed. Us guys, we were saying something about somebody and we shouldn't have. But he didn't want any part of it. And he was like, as soon as he noticed that we were starting to do it, he walked away. I was like, this guy is the youngest guy of all of us here, and he just made the most mature move I've ever seen. I was like, man, do I need to work on something.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but instead of gossiping, maybe in that setting, you can either, obviously walk away as an individual, or you can change the topic into something positive.
Yeah. If it's around people I care about, like if I was in a conversation with you guys, I tend to be a topic changer. Like if I'm like, oh, this isn't really the best. Oh, but yeah, so did you guys go see this movie or do you know what happened to this person? Like I haven't seen them in a while. You know what I mean? I personally tend to be a topic changer. People I really care about, if they're being really negative, I tend to be a caller outer.
Mm.
I like to be the one that's like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
Which you do.
Which I do. And I'm okay with being called out. If I'm around somebody and they feel like I'm being a negative person and they called me out, I'd be like, you know what, you're probably right. Or if I feel like they were wrong, okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about, you know what I mean? I am such an upfront person. I think if someone truly close friendships like you guys, someone that I truly cared about and loved, if you felt as though I was participating in a negative, something that would seriously affect my life, or it's a really bad idea, and you did not say something, and then later down the road you're like, yeah, I didn't think it was a great idea, I'm the type of person that would have been like, dude, because I feel like my friendships are a outward representation of me. My friendships, the people I'm in relationships with, when you're out in that world, you're representing me. If I put you on my Facebook or, whatever it may be, if I hang out with you, you are a representation of me, because the relationships I choose to keep are very important to me. So if you felt as though I was being negative towards you, negative towards somebody else, doing bad things with my life or other people, and you did not say something, I would take that personally too. I'd rather you call me out and me take it personal and let's talk about it than you hide.
And something that I've been working on is, you and I were talking one day and I just happened to say someone was, we talked about someone and I said, they are just useless. And you said, well, I wouldn't use the word useless. And that just kind of stuck with me because I thought about that a lot. And I'm like, when you call someone useless, you have torn down everything about them in just the most negative way possible, because no one is truly useless. So
yeah, and it's kind of basing an opinion and making a statement on something that is purely your point of view.
Right.
purely you yourself's point of view. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And you said it out loud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For
It's
the
like,
world
oh,
to
okay.
hear.
And you said it to me. And I'm like, oh. So that's where I'm like, I wouldn't choose that word.
Yep.
Like, you can have an opinion. I wouldn't choose that one. And I think that also comes back to, I'm very big on, man, I hate this. I don't think you realize how big the word hate is.
Oh, man.
Hate. World wars have been created over someone's opinion of hate.
Yep.
That is a very, very strong word if you actually think about it. So that's another word. I even call myself out if I say, oh man, I hate that. I'll be like, well, I don't hate it. That's wrong. I don't hate that. I just don't like that.
And then the opposite side of that, like instead of hating something, you could say, I really don't like this, but I do love this. Let's say somebody's doing something you don't like with whatever they're doing or whatever. I'm sure you could find something that you actually somewhat like about that person. Even if it's just like the way they dress or maybe their smile or something like that. Just find something small.
Or the way they say, it's going to be another great day, guys.
And if you're still stuck in that negative mindset of an individual, you should, one, not say it out loud. Keep it to yourself. Because we don't want you to infect the people around you.
Yeah, in a light way, if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't speak at all.
Right.
That's why I'm so quiet all the time.
Hey, you're a lot better now.
You got a lot
Since you've been on your positive journey, you're a lot more positive verbally.
Yeah. And then two, if you do have a negative concept of somebody, why? And it's probably going to be deeper than them doing something or saying something regularly. Like, probably somebody or something in your past has scarred you mentally, emotionally, whatever, and you probably need to deal with that.
Yeah. Or had just simply had a bad experience with somebody who was like that. Or you yourself used to be there and you're kind of still in a negative way of kind of growing, learning. Because I feel like everybody at some point when you're in growth, you come into a lot of self-awareness. And then some people, when they go back and look at the person they were, then they start feeling shameful. Or they start feeling bad about the person they were, and they got to go through this negative kind of mindset on a lot of things instead of being like, well, that's who I was, and I'm glad that I'm choosing to grow. Instead, they're like, oh, I did that, and that was so bad, and I did all this, and then I would just sit there and I wouldn't do anything, or I let these people walk all over me, and I shouldn't have done that. Or instead of being like, I'm proud of me choosing to grow, and I'm proud that I'm being positive, and I'm proud that I stick up for myself and I verbalize things that I want and need.
Yeah.
And
the big thing that kind of comes to me is like forgiveness. You need to, whatever that is, there's probably something that you need to forgive, that somebody has harmed you or wronged you in the past, or just somehow let it go, and or you need to forgive yourself and use the words, I love you. And we don't mean to somebody else, but we mean to yourself. Look in the mirror and say, I love myself. And not in the selfish, like, oh yeah, I'm so good, I love myself, but like truly mean to love yourself. Because everybody has insecurities that they have to deal with. And if you can learn to love yourself through the process, you will begin to have a lighter view on other people, even if they do something that is just that you might find, weird or dumb or, negative in any way. You might laugh at it, but then you realize, that was just something silly. But I still like them as a person. Or they're probably having a hard time in their life. And that shows that you begin to care. And so just by starting with the simple words of I love myself, or I forgive myself, or I forgive this person, can entirely change the way you look at your entire world.
So follow up with that, I got a question for you guys. Because this is something that I've kind of grown into on my self-aware journey as of literally this week. So we're talking about loving yourself. Would you consider yourself your own friend? Or as much as, do you consider yourself to yourself your best friend?
Certainly not my best friend, and this is something I've been developing for myself as well. Is like, I've always been very negative, like my whole life. It's just, that was what was pushed on me as a kid, and I just grew up with it.
Yeah, you grew up in that atmosphere like this.
Yeah, and like, I catch myself all the time, like, having negative thoughts, and then I stop myself. I say no. Like, just because a couple people have a problem with you, like, you look at your life currently, or at different points in your life, and look around, it's like, look at all these people who love you, and respect you, and, like, look up to you. Like, you are not the person you think you are in your head a lot of times. Like, you obviously have way more value than what we look at most of the time, because these other people like you. So, no, I'm not my own best friend, but I'm getting better at that. But luckily, I have very good other friends who point at me and say, no, you're not that person.
What about you, Austin?
I would say I'm on the same line. I think myself as, I can either be my best friend or I can be my worst enemy. And really it comes down to the choices that I make. I'm not trying to brag, and you guys already know this, but I'm pretty positive already as a person.
I can agree. Even when I came over to our area and I first saw you and met you, I'm like, this dude smiles all the time. How? With where we work and what we do, how? How is he always smiling?
Yeah. Well, eventually your face gets stuck like this. You can't go, no.
Kind of like frowning and crossing your eyes, they just get stuck like that?
No. No. But when I say, like, you're your best friend, to me, I'm like, oh man, I am doing so well. I'm taking care of myself. I'm making sure I'm doing the right things. And, I'm trying to teach people and go in the right direction. I'm trying to, be a good friend to others. I'm trying to use kind words. I'm trying to, be a better person. And then there's those other days where, like, you're just stuck in your head. And, you're like, I don't want to interact with anybody. Or you're like, man, I really made a bad choice there. Or I shouldn't have done that. And I'm like two sides of a coin. There is no happy medium for me. I'm either I could put on a good face, sure, but internally, like, there's a huge warfare going on with whatever it is that I'm dealing with. And a lot of times it affects me physically. And, like, I'm like, ugh. Like, I just, like, feel nauseous to myself. Or, like, I get headaches and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I just need to deal with this. If I just deal with this, then this will go away. So it really just comes down to staying in that positive mindset, but also you have to create steps to come out of the negative mindset, because you will go there and it's natural to go there. So what are you going to look at to take a step toward the better side of the coin? And for me personally, it's just like, all right, yeah, I messed up here. Is it the end of the world? No. Okay, it's not the end of the world. All right, so where am I now? All right, I'm here. All right, well, I did this person wrong. Did they forgive me? Could they forgive me? Yes, probably, most likely. And if not, then they probably weren't really a good person or friend that needs to be in my life. Or that just shows that I need to work on something. Okay, I need to work on something. All right, well, then I'm going to take a step and I'm going to deal with that. And then you just keep taking one small positive step. and then you find yourself, you're already in a better place. And I wake up most mornings, like everybody, I'm like, I don't want to go to work today, which is true. But then I start thinking, you know what, though? I have the opportunity to provide for my family, to show that I can be a strong and confident man to my son and to my daughter, and be a good husband to my wife. Like, yeah, I woke up today, and that means it's going to be another great day.
So the reason why I got there, right? This started, I want to say last week, but I honestly think it was the last weekend or the week before that, at the end of the week, right? Our kid got a little basket of, how they make the rubber band bracelets, right? There's just little rubber bands, and they loop them through each other. And he goes, will you guys do this with me, yada, yada, yada. Well, I told him I would. So I'm making these bracelets, and my girlfriend sits out 2 colors. And I said, yellow and orange. And he goes, yeah, use these. Yeah, use these. And he's getting excited. And then I caught myself being negative about colors. And I was like, you know what? These are actually great colors. And he goes, they're great colors. I said, yeah. I said, the orange and yellow, they're sunshine bracelets. And what comes with sunshine? Vitamin D, which when you have depression, helps you. These are our sunshine bracelets. And he was talking about making best friend bracelets. And I said, so our best friend bracelets are going to be sunshine bracelets, orange and yellow, which he immediately, kids run with it. They're like, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. So flash forward to the middle of last week, he was going to the YMCA for his fall break. And he comes home, and I've been wearing my best friend sunshine bracelet every day. And I said, hey, dude. And he goes, what? And I said, where's your bracelet? Because he gets this bucket out, and he's got all these bracelets in here. And I said, where's your sunshine bracelet? And he goes, what? And I go, our best friend bracelet. What'd you do with it? Giving him shit. And he goes, oh, I broke it. And I said, what? I said, you did what? And he goes, I broke it. I said, so you didn't make another one? And he goes, no. And I said, why? And he goes, because they're orange and yellow. And I said, excuse me. And I said, those are our best friend bracelets. He's like, sorry, I don't want one. And I said, you know what? Fine, I'll keep my sunshine bracelet to myself. Just giving him shit, And so, then I have a couple of hard days, couple of hard conversations. And like, I still, every day when I get in the shower, I'm taking this little rubber band bracelet off, right? And I'm like, you know what? And then I was talking to my girlfriend and the people we live with, and I'm like, you know what? It's okay, because they were talking about the bracelet, and my partner goes, well, he's still got our bracelet. And I said, it's fine. He doesn't have to be my best friend. I'm my own best friend. And turned around, and I went and got in the shower. So I'm sitting in the shower, and like I said, I had a couple of hard days. And every day they would bring it, I would be like, I got my best friend bracelet. I am my best friend. And it was literally earlier this week, I sat there and thought about it. And I said, am I? I was literally I remember looking in the mirror and being like, but am I though? Should I keep it for symbolism for myself until I truly feel like that? Am I my best friend? And then I sat there and thought about, the differences between my friends and my best friends. My friends are people I'll hang out with. You know what I mean? You're sociable. You're cool. My best friends, I hold my best friends accountable. And I completely want my best friends to hold me accountable. My best friends call me out. And if they don't, I'm going to get upset with them. Why didn't you call me out? If you felt that way, why didn't you call me out? My best friends are the people I can go forever not talking to. But when I see you, you're still my best friend. You're still a really close person to me. So and I trust you. I don't think that you would ever choose intentionally to do something behind my back to hurt me. There's a big difference between best friends and friends. And I was sitting there thinking about, am I my own best friend? Or do I only trust myself to the level of a friend? And then I was like, well, here we are on a self journey, Sarah. How do you really feel? Well, I know I'm learning trust with myself. But that comes into holding myself accountable. Do I hold myself accountable? I do. Sometimes too hard. Do I hold myself accountable? Like I make things more difficult or a bigger situation than what they actually truly are. Like I put myself down for even I am my biggest, critic.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all three have that in common then.
Yeah, I truly 100% am my biggest critic. I truly, even growing up, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. There is nothing you could say to me that I have not said to myself, and I've hurt myself already.
Right.
Yeah.
Because even growing, my parents were not verbally mean at all. I was always my biggest critic. I remember almost having a nervous breakdown in 8th grade year. My first year ever doing track because I felt like I wasn't doing good enough. I ran the fastest lap, but I felt as though I wasn't doing good enough. And that, my aunt and uncle was excited for me to run. My parents, were like, yeah, do whatever you want to do. I dang near had a nervous breakdown in 8th grade because I felt like I wasn't good enough for them. And it was a punishment on myself. So, I'm learning that. I want to say I'm my best friend, but I think it's going to take more time and analyzing and growth to know for sure I'm my best friend. But now I'm keeping my sunshine bracelet because I am going to be my best friend. Moral of the story.
And it's going to continue to be a progressive growth when you are working on yourself in general. With all of our previous episodes that we've talked about, that's what we're doing. And you're going to become that best friend or that person that you hope to be, that what you strive to be. Just remember, you can always be better, sure, but you aren't the person that you were. And with that in mind, you should always remember that you can stay positive because there is a silver lining.
Every mistake is a learning lesson. That is one thing I want to pride myself on is my mistakes I've learned from. Past relationships I've learned from. A lot of people go into, well, I don't like this person, or this person did me wrong, or I don't understand this. And that's another one of my beliefs is that everything and everyone comes into your life for a reason. And I'm the first person to be like, okay, what lesson am I learning, or was I supposed to learn?
And we all have the power to help people around us in their own journey just by bringing that positive message to them. Like, even if it's something small, like, hey, like, I like your hair today, or hey, you're doing a good job today. Most of us probably don't, like, I think especially guys, like, we go our whole lives without getting any kind of positivity. Like, people just don't say nice things.
Yeah. I would say it's easier to compliment a woman than it is compliment a man.
Yep.
Especially whether it's from guy to guy or from girl to guy. And I think I don't know if it's a masculinity thing or if it's just, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure.
I mean, I know my life would have been so much better if someone or anyone had just given me like a positive word now and then. I should definitely keep that in mind and pass that on to other people throughout my day.
Yeah, I tend to, like my girlfriend, when I first met her, she was like, yeah, I try to compliment one person every day. And I remember, this was 2 years ago, I remember being like, I compliment people, but I don't make it a point to do it every day. Like, why? And she's real big, even today, still on, like, affirmations, even with herself. And I remember being like, yeah, I'm not doing that. But I catch myself now today, if I notice a change in someone, whether it be physical or they're in a great mood or they're in a bad mood, like if it's physical, I'll be like, hey, your hair looks different. What'd you do? Like, it looks good. Or, oh, you got new shoes. I like those shoes. Where'd you get those? I just did that today. Oh, I like those shoes. Where'd you get those? I really did like them. But I noticed I liked them and I wanted to tell them I liked it. Or it's like, hey, man, you okay? Is there anything I can do to help? Like, all right, man, well, I love you. I hope you have a better day. Or, you know what I mean? Or they're excited about something. Hey, man, what's going on? What are you so It's something that I don't think she meant to teach me. And she may not have thought she was teaching me at all, but I've picked up on it. And it is something I do way more than I did when I met her. Way more.
Yeah, and definitely, like, if you have a positive thought, don't keep it to yourself. You know? It's so easy, kind of like in your scenario. Oh, they have nice shoes. Well, if you hadn't said anything, like, how would that scene have turned out differently? You know, yeah, in your head you liked them. What kind of conversation are you going to have then? Don't be afraid to give somebody a compliment.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of words. It's just like you're expressing yourself, you're telling people how you feel, you're opening yourself up, and that allows them to reciprocate. They can, feel that positivity. And then hopefully they can go and do that to the next person. And that's just kind of how it, like, trickles down. While using words in a positive manner will help spread the infection around, most people will see positivity through your actions. And that's what we'll talk about next week. And remember, guys, you are loved.
Always be kind.
And keep trying.
See you again next week.
Bye!